What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 League Racing, and we are here for round number 12 of Season 3 of the Streamers & Co VRL. It is time for the final round of the championship, the final race we will ever do on F1 23, and it all comes down to this. There is a massive fight going on in the championship right now between myself and Jermaine, that guy Jermaine in the Mercedes, myself in the Alpine. We've been battling all season. We've been betting with one another on who's going to beat one another in the championship. And as we come down to the final race here this weekend, I am currently on 32 points and Jermaine is on 39 points, which means I need to outscore him by 8 points today in order to beat him in the championship. If we tie on points, he will win the championship because he has the better finishing position. And as we make our way through qualifying now, you can see I had a fairly decent first lap, but we do manage to improve on it a little bit onto a 1:23.1 on our second run. But during both laps, I was definitely feeling like I could get into the 1:22s, and so I think that is going to be the goal for the session here today. And you can see as we make our way into the final sector on our final flying lap of the session, we are currently running about 4 or 5 tenths up at the moment, so we're looking pretty good. But unfortunately, we just extend the track a little bit too much there and lose a bit of time as a result of that as well. And what would have been a 4 or 5 tenth improvement, you can see as I round the final corner, is going to be all for naught as we cross the line to 1:22.6. It could have potentially been a 1:22.5 if I hadn't gone a bit too wide through that corner. We've invalidated our lap, and as a result of that, it will only be P13 for us here in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and that is what we're going to have to settle for. We'll take a look at the full qualifying rundown. It is Dustin in P1, followed by Captain Liam, a great qualifying in P2. Ryan in the McLaren on a weekend when they can clinch the Constructors' Championship. He gets P3. It's Stadebody 4th, Bjarni 5th, Alfie in 6th, Anto 7th, Samuel on his debut in 8th, Matt on his debut in 9th, and then Phil, KK, Costa, myself, RC, Mike, Jermaine, and Bryn. Brings the grid to a close here. The grid. What am I talking about, man? So yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, McLaren can clinch the championship here, and they have a pretty good chance to do it because Alex in the Ferrari is serving a race ban. Lewis in the Haas has decided not to race this weekend because he's already mathematically closed out the championship, and so Samuel is standing in for him instead. And yeah, it will fall to the McLarens with the only team in the fight. To have two full-time drivers at least racing today. It'll be interesting to see what they can do. But I'm also, of course, interested in what we can do in our championship fight as the lights come on and the lights go out. And we've had a very good start here compared to Costa in 12th, and also compared to Matt. He's gone nowhere off the start line. He started P9. He's already down into 13th, 14th. We almost go into the back of KK there, and we get shoved off track. I think that was RC and Mike trying to go 3 wide with me through turn 1 as Mike has a bit of a wobble there, and we managed to get ourselves back into P11. So we have made up positions off the start, but so have a few other people, including RC here as well. He's up into P10. It's been a very good start for him, and it's also been a good start for Jermaine, who's made his way up into P12. So yeah, on this opening lap, it is not really enough for me. We're also one of the only drivers here on the soft compound tyres. We're going to be looking to do a soft medium boxing on lap 8. And go into the end hoping we can pull off a bit of an undercut on everybody else around us, but we'll see what the other drivers decide to do. As you can see, there's a bit of carnage there. I think that was Anto going off the track there at the start. Maybe Liam went off as well, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, a few people getting caught up. Maybe there'll be a few penalties handed out, and you can see Anto actually has got a 3-second penalty for cutting the chicane there. But we will see whether that sticks for him or not. Bjarni is in the wall. It's Bjarni. He's out, and that's a safety car. So McLaren's chances of closing out the Constructors' Championship may have just crumbled right before their eyes here in Abu Dhabi as one of their drivers, one of their superstar drivers, a man who has been very, very consistent towards the back end of this season. He's had, by his calculations, I believe he said it was 6 P4 finishes in a row if you include sprint races. So it would be absolutely devastating for him today. But we are going to take this opportunity to get off these soft compound tyres nice and early, and we're going to try and go on a set of hard compound tyres at least to the end, or at least bank on the fact there's not going to be another safety car until at least after everybody else pits in this race. and see if we can gain a few positions off of that. But it is a bit of a problem for us because we have double stacked with Anto. He's decided to come in as well onto a set of hard compound tyres, and that may potentially have screwed us a little bit. It's put us behind Phil, who also boxed. Bryn double stacked with Phil on this occasion. Bryn, of course, standing in for Alex, who is serving that race ban this weekend. And yeah, that means we do at least stay ahead of him, but we're currently running down in P15. We're going to have to hope that we get very lucky here today in terms of the positions we can make up. But fortunately for us, not that many cars have pitted so far. I think it is just the 2 Alpines and the 2 Ferraris that have pitted, so we'll see if we can gain a few more positions back as we now make our way round the final corner onto the restart here in Abu Dhabi, onto lap 4. We'll see if we can close down Phil and hopefully make our way past some of the cars who are starting to have a bit of tyre drop off. Maybe not quite yet, but certainly in the next few laps the mediums or the softs that they're running on will begin to fall off, and maybe we'll be able to close down those cars in front once that happens. But for now, I think my battle here is very much with this man in front of us, Phil Skills, in the Ferrari. You know, he's been a driver who I've been very competitive with throughout all 3 seasons of Streamers & Co VRL over the course of this game's life cycle, and you know, I'm a bit emotional that it's coming to an end in this race, but we are doing a season 4 on F1 24, and of course if you guys want to get involved with that, please do leave a comment down below and I will direct you into all the necessary places you need to go in order to get signed up to maybe become a reserve driver for the start of season 4. And yeah, we are just going to see now as there is a big scrap going on here, which I think comes all the way back from about P7 or something like that. We are going to see if we can make our way through this, but at the moment we're still running in P13. As Phil there, you can see, has picked up a penalty. He's now on 3 seconds worth of penalties. And so for us, all we need to do is make sure we stay with him here. We don't even necessarily need to get past him, and we will be able to finish ahead of him. Right now, you know, there's a lot of cars in front who've yet to box. Pretty much all of these guys, with the exception of Anto and Phil, who are involved in this fight, they have boxed already, as we were very close getting past Matt there. You can see Phil actually did make the overtake. Yeah, the likes of Mike and KK and Jermaine and all of these guys, RC as well, they all still need to box as Matt goes a bit deep into the corner. We're going to try the cutback on him and try and hold it around the outside. We get a track limits warning, but we were fractionally ahead at the corner, which means that we can legally keep the position, and we just have to make sure we don't get too many more track limits warnings to lose out this advantage we have over Phil. At the moment, he's meanwhile putting a bit of pressure on Mike in front as well. Mike, a man who I believe at this point has had a few finishes back-to-back in the points for the first time this season, so he's running on a string of good form recently, but that might have just come to an end as he slides around and off the road, and that promotes us up 1 position. So right now, if you include Phil's penalty, we are currently running in the points, but there is a big scrap going on in front of us as well, involving Jermaine in, I believe, P6. It's Anto currently running in P7, RC in P8, and KK in P9. 3 of those cars yet to box, so once that happens, we will be promoted up into P8, I believe, as you can see that Dustin's actually ended up behind us, so I think he had an incident earlier on that has pushed him down the order. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he fights back against us a little bit later on in the race. He certainly has the pace to be able to do that. One of the fastest drivers on the grid this season is Mr. Bruins, and yeah, we'll see what he's capable of. Meanwhile, as we make our way on through lap 7, you can see that Phil is trying to close down the cars in front as well as me, and right now they just seem to have the pace to stay ahead, as Anto has got to the front of that train, so he's currently running in P6. He's having a great push through the field, and once the top 5 pit as well, he should be finding himself in the prime position to win this race potentially. You know, obviously it depends on what the pace of everyone is going to be like after they've boxed or not, but Anto could be on for the victory here. A strategic blinder the Frenchman might have played here today, as Phil has not played a blinder in terms of his driving. He's gone a bit deep into the hairpin, and that has promoted us up 1 position into P10. Obviously with Phil's penalty we would have been there anyway, but now we can see if we can have a crack at the cars in front, the likes of KK, Jermaine and RC. But unfortunately, just seems like there's a bit of a DRS train going on here at the moment. Everyone just having enough pace through the straights to be able to hold the car behind off. As you can see that Phil almost went for a move on me there, but went a bit deep into the corner, fortunately for us. And yeah, I don't need to overtake these guys, crucially. That's the big thing. I don't need to overtake them. As you can see, Samuel in the Haas is pitting there, so that promotes us up 1 more position, but of course he will be fighting his way back through the field later on through the race, and we'll see what he is capable of, whether he's got the pace to get back ahead of us. He's got to close down the entire gap that he's just created, because I'm not planning on boxing again unless it's a safety car. But obviously right now I don't actually want there to be a safety car, because that would completely ruin the race for me. That would mean that Jermaine would be P7 on merit, basically, or maybe not P7, but certainly he would be ahead of me, because I am planning on boxing again if there is a safety car. So it is in my best interest for there not to be a safety car right now. But like I said, as long as there is no safety car, I don't need to necessarily make these overtakes, because all of these guys are going to be boxing, and they will find themselves 20 seconds behind me when they do. And if they can make up those 20 seconds during that time, then fair play to them. I don't know if they'll be able to. I think I've got very similar pace to these guys this weekend, like of RC, Jermaine, KK, maybe slightly better. You know, I know that obviously KK out-qualified me, but I did feel like the pace I had in the car would have been enough to close that gap down if it hadn't been for the invalidation. So I think I could have out-qualified him if it hadn't been for that. But yeah, we will see what is going to happen with these guys as we make our way through lap 11. Already more than halfway through this race. It's going by in a flash, and I just don't seem to have the pace to really put any kind of challenge on these guys. But right now, after all three of these cars are boxed, I will be finding myself in, well, P4 now, because Stade Body has just come in, the AlphaTauri driver. He's gone off the set of soft compound tyres that he started the race on, and well, that's interesting. But actually, I think he might have boxed onto soft compound tyres. I think he started on mediums and he's just boxed onto soft, so he will definitely have the pace to close us down during the race, and we'll see what the other drivers are doing as well. I think Alfie has already boxed as well. So yeah, quite a few drivers behind us have already pitted, and here comes Phil. He's going to look for a move up the inside into the chicane. Is he going to be able to pull it off wheel to wheel with the Ferrari driver as we make our way through the chicane? And well, he's not really left us enough room there, I don't think, but he has made the move nonetheless, and there's nothing we can do about it. So we just have to hope that we can stay within 3 seconds of him. Maybe after the rest of the cars in front box, we can use his pace to kind of drag us along a bit with the DRS and whatnot, but it really remains to be seen whether that will be the case or not. But you can see that he's actually mounting quite a bit of pressure on the Aston Martin of KK in front as well, and we will see whether we can get ahead of him or not. But surely these guys must be coming into the pit lane soon. Surely it must be you know, a fairly soon thing for these guys. I can't imagine they're going to stay out for too much longer, otherwise there'll be no point in even pitting. And KK's brake check Phil there. You can see Phil got so much damage from that. His front wing flew off. We made a bit of contact with him. We got caught up in that. I don't know how we didn't get any damage from it ourselves, to be honest with you. But we're through on Phil, and we're up into P2, and it is an Alpine 1-2 in the race. On merit right now, we are currently running 1-2 in this race. It is myself and it is Anto in P1, and I am just going to have to try and do everything I can now, put up as much of a defensive masterclass as I can to hold on to as many positions as I can, but crucially also to see if I can help Anto win his second race this season. He won in China, of course, under a you know, a very chaotic end to the race for him. He was fighting tooth and nail to get the victory, and he ended up getting it. But we are going to have to see what we can do to hold off the cars behind. Not much is the answer, as Alfie goes through on much younger hard compound tyres compared to us. We're already down into P3. Right now, looking at the order, I believe Jermaine is currently in P10. So we need to finish at least P5, I think, to finish ahead of him. I think P6 wouldn't be enough, because P6 would net us 8 points, P10 would net him 1 point, and that would cause us to be tied on points, which, like I said, would mean that Jermaine wins on countback. So we need to stay at least P5 here today, and also hope that Jermaine doesn't make up too many more positions from where he currently is. If he finishes P8, then we need to be at least P4. So, yeah, we are going to be seeing what we can do. We've just been overtaken by Stade Body and Ryan, so ideally I won't lose too many more positions. And you can see I may have a little bit of a lifeline here, potentially, because Captain Liam has 13 seconds worth of penalties here today. And, well, as fast as he is, and he is a fantastic driver on his day, I don't think he's going to be able to pull that gap ahead of me before the end of the race. I could be wrong about that, but with only 5 laps to go, he's got to make up almost 3 seconds per lap, every lap on me, on a set of soft compound tyres that are going to continue wearing out this whole time. You know, our hard compound tyres, I'm very confident that they will get us to the end by now. Meanwhile, it's Samuel in P7, He could potentially get ahead of us, but he's also got a penalty, and he's on hard compound tyres that he's been on since lap 8, so I'm actually confident that we might be able to have a bit of a race with him potentially. And then Costa is the driver in P8, so I'm quite confident that he won't close us down because he also boxed very early in this race. So as Captain Liam makes the move, we might be able to actually get back ahead of him here by the looks of things. We've got the DRS on this occasion because he went for a move at a bit of an inopportune time for him. And yeah, into the chicane, we actually stay ahead of Captain Liam. I don't envision that we're going to be able to hold on to this for too long, but the longer we can hold on to it, the better, because the greater our chances of finishing in this P5 are going to be. Looking back down the order, you can see that Jermaine, I believe, now is running in P9, so he's actually managed to get ahead of the cars that he was battling with, and if he can hold on to that, then we need at least a P5 here today. So this battle with Samuel here is going to be absolutely crucial for us, and in doing so, we also need to make sure that we don't accidentally fall too far behind Liam, who's actually made the task even harder for himself now by getting another 3-second penalty. He's on 16 seconds worth of penalties now. Surely that is too big of a deficit for him to overcome in just the final 4 laps of the race. But Samuel, he's going to be the big one. He's also picked up another penalty in the last few corners or so. So he's now got 6 seconds of penalties that after he overtakes me on nearly 10 lap old hard tyres, he is going to have just 3 laps to break away 6 seconds from me. That is 2 seconds per lap on tyres that are not that much younger than mine. You know, I actually think we have a very, very solid opportunity to get ahead of Samuel here. I getting lumps in my throat here from how exciting this racing is going to be. You know, we've got to keep an eye on the gap behind as well, because Jermaine could potentially close down Costa, and if he does that, it's going to be game over for us here potentially. And yeah, that is going to be absolutely devastating if we potentially do everything we needed to do here and it's still not enough. You know, this would be my best result of the season so far. My best result of the season up to this point is P7, which I've had on 3 separate occasions, or maybe even 4 separate occasions. But we have never had a P6 or a P5 this season. Our last time we finished P5, in case you're wondering, was a Canadian Grand Prix all the way back in round number 9 of Season 1 of Streamers & Co VRL. So this would be an absolutely monumental finish for us if we can get it over the line, quite literally on this case as well. But Samuel, he's going to mount a bit of an attack into the hairpin here, and he's actually going to manage to make the corner and get ahead of us, so we have to make sure we stay with him. 6 seconds is the gap, 16 seconds is the penalty on Liam as well, so yeah, we have to make sure we stay in those ranges. 2 laps to go. Surely Samuel can't break away 3 seconds a lap. Surely Liam can't break away 4 seconds a lap. Jermaine is 2 seconds behind Costa with about 1.5 laps left to go. Can he make up that deficit on the AlphaTauri driver? Keep in mind, Costa has been on those hard compound tyres since lap 2. Jermaine boxed for those softs on lap 12. Jermaine is going to have a lot of pace compared to the AlphaTauri driver, but will he have enough? That is the question, and we have 1.5 laps left to find out whether the answer to that is yes or no. If the answer to that is yes, it is game over for me. I think I've done enough to make sure that I've secured P5 here today, and this overtake on Samuel will all but confirm it. Captain Liam is not going to make up another 7 seconds on me in these last few laps unless I make a gigantic mistake. My fate now is basically entirely in the hands of whether Jermaine can make that overtake on Costa before the end of the race. And keep in mind, Jermaine has some very speedy company behind him as well. Dustin Bruins in the Aston Martin is hounding him all the way. He needs to beat both of those drivers. If Dustin beats him here today, then it will still not be enough. Even if he does manage to get ahead of Costa, he needs to beat both Costa and Dustin here today. I just don't know if it's going to happen for Jermaine, but we will see what is going to happen with him as we make our way onto the final lap. The gap is 9 seconds to Liam. He has to make up 7 seconds in the space of 1 lap. It's not happening. No matter how fast he is, he would have to be significantly faster than most esports drivers, I think, to be able to make up a deficit that large. And as he overtakes Anto on track, that overtake will not stick on this occasion. Based on the performance that Liam has shown, penalty-wise at least. Samuel is going to go for another move on me now on the run down into the chicane with the DRS. He makes the overtake, but I don't need to fight this too hard because, look, he has 6 seconds worth of penalties, like I said. Even if we can't get back past him through this next DRS zone, it will not make much of a difference. But that battle between Dustin and Costa and Jermaine is heating up quite significantly because Dustin has just overtaken the both of them as well. So I think that might be it for Jermaine. let's let's see what is going to happen with him as we make our way now through the hairpin. We're definitely going to stay behind Samuel. This is on board with Jermaine. This is his direct POV here, and you can see he's going to go for the move on Costa here now, and he's going to try and go around the outside of him, but he's just misjudged it slightly, and he's round, and that might just be the end of Jermaine's chances of beating me in the championship today as we make our way back on board with ourselves. We're not going to be finishing ahead of Samuel on track here today, but this will undoubtedly be a P5 as we make our way around the final few corners. It's a win for Alfie here, his first win in the Streamers & Co VRL coming at the very end of Season 3, and Dustin has picked up a 3-second penalty behind, which brutally for Jermaine means if he had made that overtake on Costa, it would have been enough for P8 and he would have beaten me in the championship. But as things stand, we're going to finish ahead of him in P11 in the championship, and that is how you close things out in style. I needed an absolute miracle here today. I needed my best result of the season and then some, and when I prayed to the gods, they answered, and they gave me driver of the day as well for good measure. I absolutely cannot believe that this result has come out today. This was beyond my wildest dreams. This blows that finale of Season 2 in Silverstone, where I needed a good result to beat Jermaine in the championship that time. This blows that one completely out of the water. It is, like I said, Alfie getting that P1. Ryan closes out P2 as well. But you see the AlphaTauri who stayed body on the podium. Anto unfortunately had a penalty removed by the stewards, which promotes him up into P3 instead, and stayed body has to wait a little bit longer for that elusive first podium in the Streamers & Co VRL. But my word, what a race this was. What an absolutely amazing race, and I cannot wait for the future of Streamers & Co VRL. So that's the final order for you. Alfie from Ryan, from Anto then stayed. Then it was myself and Samuel. Dustin and Liam actually left the race early, but it was Liam in P7, Costa in P8, and Dustin in P9, and Jermaine in P10, meaning he gets just the 1 point, and we do beat him by 9 points here today, which is enough. And then outside of the points was KK, Phil, RC, Matt, Mike, Bryn, and Bjarni failed to finish. So that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you for Season 4 of the Streamers & Co VRL.